Hello, everyone, and welcome to Moonride. This is Dave Johnson, and I'm here with Sharon Mill Barber. She is both an author and a light worker, and I'm going to ask her about this terrific book, which I'm just absolutely enamored of. This is like a encyclopedia handbook. It's just one of the many books, but I'm going to be spending the next few months really delving into this work. It's great to have you because I really am so impressed with this book.
Thank you for having me, and I'm glad you enjoyed.
Absolute pleasure. So I just want to ask a couple of questions about your book. Number one is about pure heart prayers. And can you say more about this? You're talking about how they are answered.
Yes, it might have moved on a little bit from the book. The We have a quantum domain energy within the universe, which is a creative intelligence, and some would call it love and light, pure energies, and some relate it to God. It's what we understand as the God energy, and we've obviously put a human face to this energy for our understanding, in our 3D world. Um, all our prayers, all our intentions, whenever we ask for help for self or others, really goes first to our guide team. So we've all got guides that are with us, working with us. And we have what we call a higher self, which is a light being or a highly ascended physical being, which is the link to the soul connection, which is where a lot of which is in our heart, sacred heart space, which all sits here, linked with our consciousness. So when we send these thoughts out, they pick them up first. They are then analysed and they decide, is this going to help this person on this earth life? Or is it going to help that other person of the earth life? It might be sometimes we ask for signs that the prayer's been heard. If they feel the prayer is not right at that time or whatever we're asking, um, it would just be left. And then we as 3D energy think, well, my prayers are not being answered. Why are they not being answered?
Mhm.
This is where the spiritual growth comes to really bring a higher understanding of why our prayers are not answered. It's because we set a soul plan. It's not set in stone and it can be varied. And as this soul plan unfolds, our spiritual growth, if things aren't always for the greater good, or it's not quite right in that path at that time for that to happen, um, then it won't. But it will happen when it needs to happen. So it's having the faith that things will happen when they should. If it's a
Mhm.
prayer for somebody that's sick and ill, then that healing will go to that person. And also, the higher self, the guides will send healing remotely and their own guides. So when you set an intention of healing through prayer, that always goes to source or where it needs to go. So it's having
Mhm.
faith in that. It's a massive question, that, and I could talk for hours. So I'm just trying to define that down for you a little bit. So it
Mhm.
is faith long term that whatever's needed for you on your path, you have to let it unfold naturally. And sometimes when you're observing somebody else's path, which could be causing a bit of heartache to you or stress, you have to try and understand that sometimes you can't interfere and you have to let them walk their path, but you can be there to catch them. And it's just, yeah, it's just trying to understand there's a bigger picture to all of this. Does that make sense to you, Dave?
Makes perfect sense, especially in these times. Lots of people have been making some prayers and they're not sure if they're going to be answered. So it's really relevant, I suppose, that this question that we talked about. I thought that was a great explanation. You also, I find this really interesting because I use pyramid energy. And so you spoke of tapping into the pyramid energy and you can harness it. How do you do this?
Right, so I've not personally been to any pyramid in this world. I don't have a pyramid tent or anything. So I'm viewing this purely from my guides' knowledge, which they wish to send through. And also, I know some other people that have pyramid tents and things, and they can use them in healing or sound therapy and things. The Now, I'm not a scientist either, and I'm not very mathematical. So I've actually got a guide here now. It's just going to give me a visual description because they work visually with me. So you have to bear with me. So the shape of the triangle pyramid is created, and within that shape, they find they can create energy, a vibration that's stronger than outside of it. And that can be used to enhance energies on Earth. Pyramids that have been built, and usually churches, anywhere where there's going to be a strong sense of possible worship, healing, prayer, have been built on what you call energy ley lines.
Mm.
And ley lines of energy that sit within the earth under the crust. And the reason they like to construct along, and also near water, the same. Water is very key as well.
Mm.
Pyramids in ancient Egypt have always been shown to me with water around them. They've never been shown to me in a desert. In the ancient times, they had gardens and waterways. And with this water, the combination of these energies, so it's almost like the wind, sun, the natural environment of the earth or another planet, this causes enhanced energy. So this can be used for healing, telepathically, stronger connection between minds, as we are a telepathic race. So it can enhance that. And it can also be used for, so when celestial beings, or some might understand them as aliens, have walked this planet, especially in Egyptian times, Atlantis, um, they use these structures to help communicate telepathically with their off off worlds, ships or planets or other beings, because some we have to try and understand that some celestial beings can what we call multi-dimensionally transcend. So I've got to go back to the Star Trek movie where they stand in a tube and they disintegrate and land up on the planet. They actually can manifest themselves. It doesn't actually look like that, but telepathically create themselves somewhere else. And
Mm.
it's just amazing even to think about that, isn't it? But so these triangles, it's to do with the shape. I've actually do trance, as you mentioned, and I've got something called a cabinet. My cabinet's square, and within that space, it's made out of material. And within that space, they build a vortex of energy. So when you sit in it, when you do the trance, it's a more enhanced connection for them to come through and communicate, which is subconscious through the back of the head and through the voice box. And it's the same principle, but with the triangle shape, it can be more from their point of view. And there's other planets in the universe which use this. And the Pleiadians, if everybody wants to research the Pleiadians, they have a planet. It's a desert planet which they use, but it's got amazing energy ley lines, and they actually have a healing city there. A lot of it's got pyramid shapes and stuff, and they use it for healing, and it's a bit of a mecca in the universe for other beings to go to. A little bit of a throw in there for you.
Yeah, thanks very much. It's a
It's just from my understanding of what they always try to explain stuff to me, David, in a way that I can understand in my simple being. I can try and describe it to other people who
yes,
aren't and whatever like me.
yes, I see. We spoke a little bit of sound healing work, and it's in your book, and you said that it really is the future. Maybe you could tell us why you think it's the future and how sound healing works.
Well, I'll start with vibration and frequency. The whole of the universe is, we're all energy and vibration. The quantum domain field I mentioned is something that holds us all together. Everything. It's like the universe is expanding, but it expands with it. And this frequency is something that comes through, and our guides. I've talked about them being telepathic. I've talked about them being able to multidimensional and transcend through different layers of existence. Um, this frequency they come in on is called light, harmonic sound, and colorway. And so they put it into three things for me to understand. And they said all of this exists in the universe. and they use these frequencies to communicate and to travel through portholes and whatever else. And spaceships use it. Their spaceships use it as well.
Mm.
So down from the highly ascended energies down into 3D energy, which is us. We have our ethereal body connected to the quantum source. We have our guides. We are a physical body. We have cells. So if you think about it, we're tapping our arm and it feels solid. This arm during the day is going to change, and I won't see it. The cells will change, they'll die off, they'll be renewed. So we're moving all the time. Does that? It's weird to think, isn't it? But we just don't see it. So we have frequency, and what they're discovering with many beings across the universe, and the same with Earth, that the sound frequencies that can be used, like the Om, for one example,
Mm.
with the right intention and the influence of the guides channeling their channel through as well, it can reset the body. And every time we have a stressful moment or something, trauma has happened to us, we hold energy in our body. It's what makes us sick. That's where our illnesses come from.
Mm.
And frequency um, in the right can be used to intentionally break that down. And then they can take it off us. It's all like an energy. I've actually felt this. I've
Mm.
had healing across my body, like lying down with a blanket over me, all cozy and warm. And I actually felt this energy. It didn't hurt. I felt it lift from me. And probably because I'm attuned to myself and what's around me. But you don't always have to understand it. But the scientists are discovering this. I know somebody who had prostrate and they had sound wave treatment on it, and it got rid of it, got rid of cancer and stuff. Um, and there's somebody called, I hope she won't mind me mentioning her name, Debbie Walker. She lives in Cornwall in England. She's got a website. Look her up. I think it's Sahara Sound. And I bought some sound stuff off her. It's called Violet Flames. It's a Pacific vibration that she's channeled into this. And I've used it on myself a lot of my arthritis. I've got bad arthritis in my hands. Well, it doesn't hurt because I use the sound frequency and I set the intention. So it's also our own intention on ourselves. So the mixture of vibration, sound, our guides, our own mind intention, humanity could heal. But it's a massive task. And slowly, have you noticed, or I don't know if you've noticed, I've noticed in England there's more sound baths now.
Yes.
Um, more things like that coming out. I don't know what it's like in America or Australia, but you can see it in the last 2, 3 years since
Mhm.
we started to recover from that. Things are really picking up. And the same with the trance, people are speaking out about what they're doing now. And this is a slow progress for humanity. And with the help of sound healing,
Mhm.
imagine that energy then enhancing this pyramid energy they talk about. We could be having healing and it could be amazing. And
Mm.
I actually met someone the other day who's a trained doctor who suddenly discovered the spiritual path, came to one of my workshops, tried to talk quickly, and he's now getting into sound healing and herbal medicine because he now understands that there's another way. So isn't
Mm.
that awesome? So they're slowly working their way in where they need to be with this.
Fantastic. So, we talk about holistic emotional healing to remove negative energy. Maybe you could say a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's probably similar to what we've just been talking about. I'll
Mm.
keep this to what I do. So basically, we can have, I call the word trauma. So trauma could be anything from somebody slamming your door in your face as you enter the shop because they're rude, or it could be something from childhood that's happened, which isn't very nice, or it could be anything, grief, whatever. And we hold this within our body. And as you travel your spiritual path, you're all going to have a different path to how you release this. Um, and during my work, they gave me a meditation. And my understanding is that what I do, and I sometimes do it in my workshops, is I ask them to write down what that day they feel is stopping them moving forward on their earth life. or what they think's hindering them, or something that keeps coming to their mind from their past, and they put it on paper. And it's a way of mentally taking it out and down. It's come out the body on a piece of paper. Nobody needs to know what they've put down. We don't, if they want to discuss, they can. And then I do a meditation when I take a walk through a hayfield to a beach. Um, or before that, I've said to them, where do you hold this in your body? Where do you hold this in your body? Most people go here or stomach, which is quite interesting. They don't go
Mm.
to the head, they go to the physical body. And then in the meditation, I take them to a lovely space, and in the distance, two guides that comes to them. And I don't know if you've heard of the silver thread, like we're connected through to the energy of the universe, and we're connected almost like a silver thread. That's how I look at it. And then we ask for a silver thread to come out of them with a balloon, and then they have to place this in their balloon, what they want to get rid of. And then the guide will give them scissors or a sword, and or whatever they need. And at some point, we'll give them half an hour at the most to cut it. Most people do it really quickly. And I ask them to give me a sign when they cut it, which can be a finger in the air or something like that. And they all give the sign, probably those 5 minutes. And then we walk back on the beach. We finish the meditation, and they come back into the room.
Hmm.
What that's done is they've shifted the negative energy of that point where they wanted to shift, but they've still got the memory. So they will then say to them, well, when you think of that again, it should be easier. It shouldn't be quite so hurtful. And I've done this with myself, and I had something from my childhood, which I won't mention on here, which was quite, it wasn't good, something that happened to me. And somebody did this on me. I didn't even know I needed to have it done. And I brought that memory forward. I didn't even tell them what it was because I couldn't talk about it. And I did the exercise, I did it all with them. And afterwards, I then had this clarity. Yes, this happened to me, it's part of my life, but I'm not going to let it define me anymore. And it was part of my experience here. And it was like a catalyst for me for other things to happen. And for me to think, no, I'm not going to let that happen to someone else. And you know what I mean? It was, you can sometimes re-look at things that hurt you into a positive and say, this is me, but I'm not going to let it define me anymore. I'm going to move forward. So that's how I use it.
Perfect. Perfect sense. Yeah. It is like can we look at this as something that we've learned and overcome, etc., or do we still carry it as an upset? Uh,
There is a, I will mention this, and I think people need to know this. Sometimes we want to carry it. Sometimes we want to be the victim.
mm,
So, and I've worked with some people that actually don't want to release it because they thrive off that side. Now, really at that point, they're perhaps not ready to move it. So there is that side of it, and have witnessed that. But most of the time, they will bring the guides, will bring them to me at the point where they need to release it. I've done it in the spiritual development. I find with spiritual development, mediumship, trance, or whatever, or even healers, that sometimes they can't move on in their development because they've got stuff to heal. So I'm guided to do this exercise with the group, and then they have a shift, and then they move forward again. It's like a new door opening.
wow, that's amazing. We also spoke of, again, prayer energy. You sort of mentioned that people are wondering if the prayers are being answered. What I found super interesting about this prayer energy idea is that you mentioned in your book that if it's for another person, it works better. And if it's more, it has that sort of purity, it works better. Uh, what can we talk about that?
I think it's all to do with intention. This whole journey is to do intention. You know, sometimes we could say, I want this, or I want this for myself. When am I getting my big house? When I'm getting my car? And if it's not right for you, it's not going to happen. And you've got to sort of set. I think when you do your prayers, you've got to. It's like a hope, isn't it? You're putting hope out there for something,
Mhm.
and it's all self, self, self. It's not really very spiritual. But so
Right.
yeah, so sometimes you need to sort of stop and think, well, hang on a minute. I'm spending a lot of day thinking about myself, what's happening on around me, who needs some help. Um, it's like, okay, so recently I've been sending, I see healing as a prayer. When I send healing out, to me, that's a prayer to help other people. And I was sending healing out to Ukraine, America, um, Israel, all recent events. And then my guide said to me, hang on a minute, do you know where you actually need to send the healing? I went, well, at what milestone? They said you need to send it to the leaders of those countries. They are actually where you need to send your energy. Now, you'd think, why should I send my energy to someone that's... But no, actually, they're absolutely right. These are the catalyst people causing these events. And we need to send healing to them to try and help them disperse that energy. And if we all did it singly, I don't think it's enough. So the power of prayer then comes into unity and group work. So if you worked in a group, a circle, and you put that intention out there, and you've heard of remote healing, remote prayer is the same. We were sending out somewhere the signal for someone to pick up. And there's people that say you can attract negative and you can attract positive. It's very true. So I don't know if I'm actually answering your question here, David, but actually, it's a lot of it is going back to intention. It's pure intention. If I say I won't call it your name, send Fred healing up the road, and actually I don't like the man, and I'm not really bothered about him. Really, I've just counteracted that pure intention. But if I
Right.
say I've got to get over this. This guy's human. He really needs help. Please give him some help and support and heal the situation that was causing this. Then it's a little bit more meaningful than, because I'm human at the end of the day and I've had to grit my teeth and say prayers to help people. I found they've really hurt me or a member of my family. And yet I've really tried to be pure and good. But, I've got to swear then. It is beat, beat, beat very hard.
Yes, it is. Yes. And I think it's really a great idea to send the leaders prayers. Look, if I want to take your class, could I do it online?
Um, because I've just got myself a spiritual hub where I'm now developing. Um, I'm doing a lot of workshops from there now and stuff. I did do some online stuff, and I am thinking of doing some more next year, but I haven't got it in my plan at the moment because I'm really busy. But my books are alone a journey for you. I've written
Yeah.
6 books. They're
Let
on
me
Amazon.
let me show it again. Now, this is the Spiritual Handbook by Sharon Milne Barber. Now, tell me, how could people reach you?
They can reach me through www.bengalrose.co.uk or www.quantumtrancehealing.co.uk. Email Sharon at bengalrose.co.uk. Facebook, I have Bengal Rose Healing as Messenger. Um, the one thing I just like to say about that book, I think I said it to you before you bought it. It's one of those books where there's a massive index, and I'd say to you, don't read it from page 1 unless that's what you're drawn to do. Go to the index and think, what am I interested in? What am I drawn to? Because what you're going to find, and wherever you are on your spiritual path, that book covers loads of stuff I've written over the years. And it might be you won't cope with some of it, and some of it will sit with you. So as you said when you started, it's like a book you have on the side. You pick it up and you go, yeah, I understand this now. I've done it myself. I've read books. I started out and I picked up a book somebody gave me. I couldn't read it, put it down. 4 years later, I picked it up and started to understand it. So the books are, and if you want to contact me and ask which book, tell me where you are on your journey. I ask my guides which book is right for you, and they tell me, and I tell you which one to get. It's my guides are keen. This knowledge is all from them. It's not for me. It's for humanity. It's to
That's
bring change. It's
just
wisdom.
Just wonderful. Well, this is terrific to talk to you. I am absolutely enamored of this book, and I'm really impressed. Thanks so much for being on my show.
Yes, thank you. We must chat again. I think we can talk for hours.
I'm afraid we could, maybe even days.
We
Thanks
have another
again.
that would be like trance. That would be a good one to talk about. Could even do a trance demonstration where you go into trance and you ask the guide questions.
I would very much look forward to that. All
Yeah.
right. Sharon,
You take.
thanks so much.
Thank you.
Mhm.